Imagine walking into a room and instantly connecting with everyone you meet. Imagine building trust, influence, and relationships effortlessly. Dale Carnegie's timeless classic, How to Win Friends and Influence People, offers practical principles for transforming your interactions and creating meaningful connections. This is the story of how I applied Carnegie's lessons to improve my relationships, earn respect, and influence others positively. Carnegie's first principle is simple yet profound. Show genuine interest in others. He writes, "You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you." I decided to test this principle at a networking event. Instead of rehearsing a pitch about myself, I focused on asking open-ended questions and truly listening. Questions like, "What inspired you to pursue your career?" opened up engaging conversations. I noticed how people's faces lit up when they felt heard. The impact was immediate. Not only did I form meaningful connections, but I also learned valuable insights from others. Showing genuine interest didn't just improve my relationships, it deepened my understanding of people. Carnegie's lesson taught me that curiosity and attention are the keys to building trust. I continued practicing this principle in my daily interactions. When meeting someone new, I resisted the urge to talk about myself and instead focused on learning about them. Simple follow-up questions like, "How did you get started in your field?" or "What challenges are you most passionate about overcoming?" revealed fascinating stories. People opened up, and I found that genuine interest created an immediate sense of connection. Moreover, showing interest wasn't just about asking questions. It was about being fully present. I made a conscious effort to maintain eye contact, nod in agreement, and avoid distractions like checking my phone. These small but meaningful gestures reinforced the authenticity of my interest. Over time, I noticed a significant improvement in how people responded to me. They were more engaged, more open, and more willing to collaborate. Carnegie's principle taught me that the foundation of strong relationships is genuine curiosity about others. By focusing on their stories, interests, and experiences, I discovered a world of opportunities to connect and grow. Carnegie emphasizes the simple yet transformative power of a smile. He calls it a messenger of goodwill. Initially, I underestimated this advice. Could something as small as a smile really make a difference? I decided to put it to the test. Whether greeting a barista, meeting a colleague, or passing a neighbor, I made a conscious effort to smile. The results were astonishing. Conversations flowed more easily, and people responded with warmth and openness. Smiling didn't just affect how others saw me. It changed how I felt about myself. On challenging days, forcing a smile lifted my mood and shifted my perspective. Carnegie's principle reminded me that kindness often begins with the simplest of gestures. To deepen my understanding of this principle, I observed how others reacted to different types of interactions. I noticed that a genuine smile could diffuse tension during a disagreement or brighten someone's day when they were feeling overwhelmed. One day, while running errands, I smiled at a stressed cashier and said, "You're doing an amazing job handling such a busy day." The shift in her demeanor was immediate. She smiled back, and her energy seemed lighter. I also learned to combine a smile with positive body language. Standing up straight, maintaining relaxed shoulders, and offering a firm but warm handshake amplified the effect of my smile. People seemed more at ease and more willing to engage in meaningful conversations. This combination of nonverbal cues helped me establish rapport quickly, even in unfamiliar settings. Practicing this habit taught me that a smile is more than just a facial expression. It's a signal of approachability and goodwill. By making it a daily practice, I experienced firsthand how such a small act could create significant ripple effects, fostering warmth and connection wherever I went. A person's name is, to that person, the sweetest and most important sound in any language, writes Carnegie. This principle struck a chord with me because I had always struggled to remember names. To improve, I practiced repeating names during introductions and associating them with mental images. For instance, when I met someone named Grace who loved painting, I pictured her holding a brush. These small tricks worked wonders. Remembering names transformed my interactions. People were pleasantly surprised and appreciated the effort, which deepened our connections. This principle taught me that small efforts in personalization can have a big impact on relationships. I began keeping a small notebook to jot down names and details about the people I met. After each interaction, I'd write down their name, a few key points about our conversation, and something unique about them. This practice not only reinforced my memory, but also helped me prepare for future meetings. When I met Grace again weeks later, I asked about her latest painting project, and she was visibly touched that I remembered. Another strategy one used was incorporating names into conversations naturally. Instead of a generic, "How are you?" I'd say, "How are you doing, Grace?" Hearing their name made people feel valued and acknowledged. Over time, this small effort built stronger rapport and trust. Carnegie's principle reminded me that remembering someone's name isn't just a polite gesture. It's a powerful way to show respect and care. By prioritizing this habit, I turned what was once a weakness into a meaningful way to connect with others on a deeper level. Carnegie stresses the importance of avoiding criticism, condemnation, and complaints. He explains that criticism often makes people defensive and damages relationships. I tested this principle during a team project. When a colleague made a mistake, instead of pointing it out harshly, I approached the situation with understanding. I said, "I can see how this happened. Let's figure out a solution together." This approach preserved our working relationship and improved teamwork. This principle also applied to personal relationships. Replacing criticism with encouragement transformed how I interacted with loved ones. Carnegie's advice taught me that empathy and patience build stronger, more trusting connections. I began applying this principle by reframing my feedback. Instead of saying, "You didn't meet the deadline," I'd say, "I know you've had a lot on your plate. Is there a way we can adjust the timeline to make it more manageable?" This approach encouraged collaboration and solutions rather than blame. Over time, I noticed how people became more receptive to feedback and more willing to take responsibility for their actions. In personal settings, I practiced active appreciation to counterbalance the urge to criticize. For example, if a family member forgot something important, I'd acknowledge their effort in other areas, saying, "I really appreciate how much you've been helping around the house lately." This approach reduced tension and fostered a supportive environment. Avoiding criticism doesn't mean ignoring mistakes. It means addressing them with compassion and understanding. Carnegie's principle reminded me that positive reinforcement is far more effective than pointing out flaws, creating a foundation of trust and mutual respect in all my relationships. Carnegie's principle of giving honest and sincere appreciation resonated deeply with me. He writes, "Be hearty in your approbation and lavish in your praise." I realized how often I overlooked opportunities to express gratitude. I began making it a habit to acknowledge others' efforts. Whether it was complimenting a coworker's presentation or thanking a friend for their support, I focused on being specific and genuine. The responses were remarkable. People's faces lit up, and our connections grew stronger. This principle taught me that everyone craves recognition. Acknowledging others' contributions not only made them feel valued, but also enriched my relationships. I expanded this practice by creating a gratitude journal, where I noted acts of kindness or support I received from others each day. Reflecting on these moments helped me identify opportunities to express appreciation in real time. For example, after a colleague stayed late to help me with a project, I sent a handwritten note thanking them for their dedication. The gesture was small but left a lasting impact. Another technique I adopted was public recognition. During team meetings, I made it a point to highlight individual contributions, saying things like, "I want to acknowledge Sarah for her creative ideas during last week's brainstorming session. They really elevated our project." This not only boosted morale but also inspired others to support and uplift each other. Carnegie's lesson taught me that appreciation is a powerful currency in relationships. By being specific, timely, and sincere, I strengthened bonds and created an environment where people felt seen and valued. This habit didn't just enhance my interactions. It enriched the culture of every group I was part of. How to Win Friends and Influence People offers timeless principles that can transform how we connect with others. By showing genuine interest, offering honest appreciation, and avoiding criticism, I created deeper, more meaningful relationships in all areas of my life. The lessons I learned weren't just about winning friends. They were about building trust, respect, and understanding. What about you? Which principle will you put into practice today? Remember, small, intentional actions can lead to profound changes in your relationships and your life.